With the yen at all-time lows, the fear of World War III at all-time highs, and what seems like everyone and their mom's going to Japan, I did a 10-day solo trip to Japan as a 21-year-old. I had the trip of a lifetime. I had so much fun. So this video is going to be part vlog, part itinerary, and part life lessons. I think. I don't know what the fuck. After a 13-hour economy class flight where I got zero sleep, I arrived in Tokyo at 3:30 p.m. I heard this life hack that if you give the flight crew a bag of snacks for on the plane, they'll give you free upgrades and treat you like a king, and it was complete bullshit. It didn't work for me, but they were really thankful, so maybe if you just want to make, like a couple of flight attendants' days, just give them some snacks. I get out of the airport and go straight to the express train. I was infatuated on the train right there. I booked these tickets 6 months in advance, and the last 2 weeks before I left for my trip, I was so busy with my exams and my work and my business and everything else I had going on in my life. I was pretty derealized. I was pretty out of it. I was kind of just living on autopilot all of April before I got to Japan. But when I was on that train, reading my Japanese train ticket and seeing these tiny Japanese streets with cars on the other side of the road that we don't have in Canada, it was like a huge wake up back into reality. And I've been to Argentina, I've been to Italy, which, are different, which are obviously different countries, but Japan is like a completely different planet. I remember I'm on the train and everyone's Japanese. Okay, I just realized that sounds like I'm calling Japanese people aliens. They are not aliens, they are in fact real human beings. So I get to my hostel, which is Hotel Tomaria Ueno. Hotel Tomaria Ueno. So this place cost me about 44 USD a night after taxes, which is really good. Quick life hack. There's this thing called the Yamanote line in Tokyo. It's this big green line. As long as you stay at a hotel, hostel, Airbnb, whatever, near this subway line, within walking distance of this, you'll be fine. You can get to anywhere in Tokyo super quickly. I book all my hostels on Agoda. Not sponsored, it's just fucking Agoda. I get such good prices on there. Now, this hostel was cheap and modern and clean, but my room was fucking tiny. It was the size of a single bed. I think I've built houses for NPCs in Terraria that were bigger. Also, the pillow was as soft as a rock. I wasn't planning on staying inside too much, so I didn't really care, honestly. And for the price, I couldn't complain. I put all my stuff away by shoving in the corner. And of course, my Gen Z brain rot brain has to instantly go into Instagram. And what are the odds that 2 of my friends from high school were in Tokyo at the exact same time? So we have Fuchu Station, which is the fucking boonies, the middle of fucking nowhere. The reason I'm going here is because my friend from high school, 2 of them, Jovi and Emilio, they're here. And the only reason they're here is because they got the cheapest fucking hotel. But I'm about to go see them right now. I'm tired as fuck. I didn't sleep that much on the plane. I'm fighting to fall asleep right now, but we will. Look, I'm not the best planner. I'm not the most organized person in the world. I'm a pretty cheap guy, right? I'm a bit frugal. Linking up with Jovi and Emilio made me look like Lee Kuan Yew in comparison. So they booked the cheapest hotel, which was in Fuchu, which is the fucking Timbuktu of Tokyo. It is super far from anything.
Okay, I won't get this.
Now we have, young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know. They don't know these things.
I feel like a caveman discovering a fucking new technology. What the fuck is that? It's probably good as fuck. I just don't know.
Boy, so that one looks pretty.
What the fuck is this?
Do you want to add anything or take away anything?
I'm gonna add this. I don't know what that is.
I ordered though, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. Did you order it already? I said yeah, I put it through.
There's no way to do it.
Oh,
Brother.
Oh, it's already there.
You just make the fucking English option. Fucking retard.
I thought that was a chat box.
So you guys just you raw dog it. As hard as you can raw dog it.
Yeah, it's harder than you can imagine. We're living off $3 meals.
Why just not save up some money? You're
That's our savings.
just go into debt. At this point.
We want to spend at the end of our trip $500.
It's possible. It's gonna be a shit trip. But, you gotta spend a little bit. You gotta
No.
Okay, I'm cheap. I'm really cheap. But when it comes to vacations, I like to spend my money.
As I feel really organized too. Organization is the best skill because it directly, positively affects every other skill in your life. Every other facet of your life is made better by organization.
So would you recommend raw dogging a vacation?
Would I recommend raw dogging a vacation? 100%. It's fun as hell.
Yeah, it is.
Confusing, but nice.
Don't book anything in advance. Make sure you do everything last minute. Don't learn anything about where you're going, especially if you can't speak the language.
Listen, if you're going for like 10 days with a friend, just fuck it.
What's going on here, man? Now, every person in Japan will tell you how nice convenience stores there are, and they're not lying, they're not glazing. They have everything, and the food and selection is crazy. Now, you think of convenience store prepared food, you picture the most vile creation you only eat when you're on the verge of death or drunk. But Japanese convenience food is fresh and delicious, and it's so cheap, it's insane. So we got some $1 onigiri, and what may be the most beautiful things I ever put my lips on, strong zero. For $2 Canadian, you get a 9% tall can of alcohol that has zero alcohol taste, zero sugar, and gets you absolutely fucking blasted. It's nothing short of magical. Especially coming from a place where alcohol is so fucking expensive. Now, I'm not a big drinker, okay? I only like to get buzzed when I can fully enjoy it. But I was like really stoked and excited to try Strong Zero when I got to Japan. First drink, Strong Zero.
Should I put it at 0.5 or should I just leave it like that?
Fucking explode.
Yeah. Why you open it like that?
Smells very good.
You didn't have to cut me off.
Yeah, I guess that far, everything zooms in.
This is dangerous. This is 9% is dangerous. This is not just like alcohol.
That's what I got.
Am I the only guy wearing shorts? Like, we're the only people. Have you noticed that no one else but us is wearing shorts?
Toronto's so fucking cold. Like,
Yeah, this is like it's 17 degrees here today, and Toronto's 1. It's 1 degree today. Yeah. Holy fam. Family merch, family merch. Warm here. Okay, so I'm teaching you something. Come. This one of these, they will the liver shot. Yeah. You take it before your hangover, and you won't get a hangover anymore. We go out a little hammered. So we're just free roaming around Fuchu with, my 2 high school friends in Tokyo. And it's these small, unexpected things that make traveling alone so fun. You get to just experience these things that you just never would have thought would happen. So we sat down for a few hours just chatting shit. We had this little yap session that I already uploaded in a separate video. Go watch that. That like, they go on social media and they push this so much, they're almost like mind controlled into believing a certain way.
yeah, that's pretty chill. I mean, if you don't do.
Then at that point, it was midnight, and I was like, oh, it's time for me to, get going back to my hostel. And of course, I'm a silly goose, and I didn't realize the train stopped running at midnight. So I look on Uber, and it's $150 for a taxi ride. And I'm like, fuck that. So they're just like, yo, you can crash at our hotel. They had a single queen-size bed, and there were 3 of us. It was not a good sleep. I missed the last train, and, you gotta do what you gotta do. I just missed the last train.
Sleeping with us.
I gotta sleep with these 2. Amelia and Jovi were telling me that they only booked this hotel because it's the only one they could find and it was a decent price. And the price made sense because it was the red light district. There were so many prostitutes in this area, and there's a bunch of like girl bars.
Come to the spot.
Yeah, we're better priced by the good spot, all the good stuff. Okay. Here, there's a bunch of prostitutes on the street there, but.
Oh my god, our girls are watching.
So I missed the last train. I gotta sleep like this. They're all gonna sleep beside me. I'm not even gonna show you what it'll look like with them inside of it. Make sure you know that the trains and the route service at 12. Because our friends had a Shinkansen to catch early in the morning, we had to wake up at 7. So I got a good 4 hours of sleep after no sleep the night before on the plane. So I was pretty out of it, and I actually woke up at 6 and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I had an hour to myself where I just went for a walk, got some konbini breakfast. They ended up waking up, we get on a train, and I waved my friends off. A short but very, very memorable experience I'll never forget. Once I did get back to my hostel, I tried to take a nap for an hour, but I couldn't fall asleep. The first couple of days you're on vacation, anywhere you go, you have this insane superhuman energy. The fuel your body has built up, you can just you have so much energy the first couple of days, even if you don't sleep, even if you don't eat. So, I was like, whatever, I'm in Japan, I'm not gonna sleep this off, let's go. So I went to a vending machine, got a coffee, and headed to Shibuya. Now, I'm a vintage guy, and the reason I have so many nice vintage clothes is because I'm a vintage clothing reseller. I buy all of my clothes for about $5 a pound. I go to these thing called rag houses, which have like thousands of pounds of vintage clothing. So I have a very different price point when it comes to clothing in general, but especially vintage clothing. And everyone online is saying how good thrifting and the thrift store prices are in Japan and how goated it was. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, it's alright, like, overrated as fuck, in my opinion. I mean,
I went to like a 6-7 vintage stores when I was in Japan, and the selection was good, but bro, the prices were like not that cheap. But man, the thrift stores were such a bust. And it wasn't just in Shibuya, but everywhere else I went, even like the less touristy areas. So being in Shibuya, like the shopping capital of the world, the prices of stuff in general in Japan were a bit better than back in Canada, and I would assume probably America. I guess if you're buying like, you know, a really expensive bag or like chrome hearts or something like that, with the conversion rate and any purchase over $50 being tax-free in Japan, you would maybe save some money. But if you're like me and like shopping's just like a second thing when you go traveling and you don't really care too much, you're gonna be a little disappointed. I also checked out the Pokemon store in Shibuya. I'm a big Pokemon nerd. The place is pretty sick. It had this cool Mewtwo statue, but it was fucking packed in there. I did cop some Pokemon cards since they had prismatic evolutions. I actually ended up opening. I didn't find shit in my packs, but you know, maybe that's because I'm leaving all the good packs for you guys. I then went to Shibuya Crossing, and no, I did not take some goofy video running in the middle of the street, take a stupid Instagram picture. I'm not saying we should do harm to other human beings, but if overpopulation becomes a problem and we need to start purging people, they need to go first on the list. There's nothing that irks my soul more than people who like do these Instagram, TikTok trends. I hate you. I hate you so much.
Let's go.
Shibuya Crossing is cool. Like, you should definitely go see it if you're in Tokyo. It looks much bigger online than it is just a street crossing. It's nothing crazy. I walked around Shibuya, went to some different stores. Nothing really piqued my interest. I already got a super stacked closet, honestly, so didn't really care too much about it. By this point, I was starving and I was dying for a bento box. So I looked up bento box on Google Maps. They edged me and I ended up going to a Chinese restaurant, but I was so hungry. I just got in there and man, that food slapped, man. I ate enough food for like 3 people. After this succulent Chinese meal, I just walked around Tokyo for a little bit. I wanted to go out that night, but I was so tired, so I hit the hay at 10 p.m. I woke up early the next morning and it was pouring rain. I got a clear umbrella from my hostel and made my way to a konbini to eat my breakfast. AI is going to take all of our jobs and ruin humanity, but the one thing it is very good at is making itineraries. So I asked it what to do on a rainy day in Tokyo, and it was like, yo, you should go to the Tokyo National Museum. And it was actually like a 10-minute walk from my hostel. So I went off to the museum. On the way there, I saw this very nice Buddhist temple. It was beautiful. The National Tokyo Museum actually has like 5 other museums all beside it, all with like slightly different things. So a lot of them are free as well, so I recommend you check those out. The big museum itself was 1,200 yen for university students. I'm a big museum guy. I really like history and art, and I would definitely recommend going there. It was very, very nice, especially for the price. The museum took up like my whole morning. I was there for like 3-4 hours. They even have that famous yo. But if it's raining in Tokyo and you know you don't want to get soaked, you want to be indoors, it's a good place to go. So by the time I left around lunchtime, it was still pouring rain. So I was walking around Ueno Park. Ueno Park is really nice. It's probably nicer when your feet aren't getting soaked by the rain. So I was cold and hungry, and I went to this ramen store nearby. That was kind of ass. Now, everyone tells you that Japanese people are super polite and super nice. So Japanese people are definitely polite, but they have this concept of having like 2 faces. Like, you have a face that you show out in public where you're very nice and polite to people, and you have a real inner self. And it's one of the things that I think a lot of Western people are kind of jarred by with Japanese people, that it's hard to tell if someone likes you or not, or they're just being polite. This is the point I'm just gonna make in general about Japan. Japan has only gotten a mass wave of tourism in the last couple of years. So I think Japanese people and Japanese society in general isn't really used to having so many tourists versus, you know, Italy and Italians like us. You know, we've had tourists for so long, we kind of understand them. We don't really hate them. Like, we view them in a certain light, and we accommodate to them. Versus in Japan, like, there was many experiences, including this ramen shop I went to. The waiter was being nice to me and everything, but like, I could just tell from his body language and the way he was looking at me. I don't think I was doing anything wrong, but the fact that I was a foreigner, I didn't speak Japanese maybe, he was kind of like being rude to me in his head, you know, I could tell he didn't want me to be there. It's just an odd thing, it's a cultural difference, and it just got something you gotta get used to if you're going there. My umbrella fucking exploded, and I got really soaked. Japan is extremely, extremely safe. It's very rare that someone steals something from you or you get something stolen, but people will steal these clear umbrellas. So if you leave them out, it's a very good chance someone will take them. This is what the locals told me. The itinerary kind of ended at the museum, but But I remember this place on Instagram that this guy showed me, shout out this guy, that told me about this place called Nakano Underground. And if you have extra time or it's raining, go visit this place out. It is sick. It's like a mall with like 3 levels, 1 above ground and like 2 underground. But it's not really a mall, it's some odd mall thing. But the above ground is also covered, but it's like open area. I don't know, it's really weird. I don't really know how to describe it, but they have just about everything. They have a bunch of arcades, a bunch of anime stores, a store that I'm not even kidding had nothing but gay hentai, a Uniqlo, some restaurants, a grocery store. It was really, really cool. And it was like pretty much just locals there, other than like a handful of tourists. If you have a bunch of coins on your trip and you want to use them, bring them here. There's a bunch of arcades downstairs, and they just had sick games. They also had a built-in coin exchanger if you don't have coins. But overall, it was a pretty sick place. I ended up playing some Pokemon game. I didn't understand what the hell was going on, but it was fun. The grocery store had this little 200 yen sushi box. Of course, it slapped. They had some vintage stores there that were kind of overpriced. I roamed around a bit, just enough until I was dry. Then I walked to the subway station. I decided to do something this day that I'm very happy I did, and that's stop bringing my AirPods when I went out. I didn't wear my AirPods for the rest of this trip. There's something about appreciating the moment you're in. The subway rides I took this day and the escalators I was on and these rainy Japanese streets were so beautiful to me. It might be a normal occurrence for a person, but it's one of the things about traveling. It's like you're doing something that like you can never experience in another place but here. Even if it's something as frugal as getting wet in the rain, you know, which some people might even be pissed about. To me, it was like, it's kind of a beautiful experience. I'm gonna just say this one time in the video because I'm gonna end up repeating myself. Japan is so clean. The subways, the streets. It's obviously not like perfect, but man, the subways were so clean and efficient. I'm gonna go full libtard mode here, but like, North Americans are so fucking bad at understanding that good public transit makes every single commuter, car traveler or not, life better. It's really frustrating when you like travel to Europe and you travel to Asia and even in Argentina. Like the public transit is so much better. I don't understand why North American politicians are so fucking stupid. Anyways, but it was still raining pretty hard, so I decided to go back to my hostel just to unsoak my pants. Now, if you've never stayed at a hostel, it can be kind of jarring and scary to do it. I've stayed at 7 of them so far, and they're really great. Most people that go to hostels like go to multiple and they understand that like, oh, I'm not gonna be loud as fuck and interrupt everybody, and they're very clean, and like as long as you don't get the cheapest one in the city and you read a lot of reviews, like the bathrooms are always very clean, they always provide you a good amount of amenities. But what I really like about hostels is that you get to meet people that are also solo traveling, you know, and it's easy to make friends in that sense. And while I was there, I met 2 guys in my hostel. One of them was Gary and the other one, his name was Alejandro. They're both like in their 30s. Complete coincidence, but both these guys were like working in Taiwan. They just met each other at the same time. So we started chatting. Them being older and like both living in Taiwan, I guess it's easier for them to relate. The thing about people that go to hostels is that they're very open to meeting new people. So even though I was 21 and they're 37 and like, you know, there's an age gap, you don't really feel it. Most people are still very open to meeting with you. And
why are you fucking here, man? You're so old.
So by this time the weather clears up and they're like, oh, let's go out and drink. So here I am with 2 unks at this izakaya, and despite our age differences, we got along really well. And this is something I think people of all ages kind of get scared of when traveling, thinking they're too old or they're too young. But humans, no matter what the situation, will always find a way to make connections through any age or cultural gap. So we get to this izakaya, and man, when I walked in there was nothing but Japanese businessmen smoking cigarettes inside. I was in pure bliss. I know this whole video I'm gonna sound like this fucking meme. Genuinely, it's always so like wonderful to go see another culture and things that you wouldn't even fathom existing back home. Like people smoking inside, that's just so crazy to me. So we go free roaming and I get to show these guys the beauty that is Strong Zero. And so we're out in the street getting hammered, drinking Strong Zeros, just chatting. If you need a picture in public, ask Asian people, especially Koreans, but like Chinese and Japanese people are good at it too. They take such good photos of you. Like these are the pics Gary snapped of me. I will never be able to create a picture this hard in my life, bro. This is so tough. I was honestly a little hesitant to go out with these guys since they're so much older, but I had such a fun time. Even though we didn't get like degenerately fucked up. We went to 7-Eleven, get some beanie food, and there was these Japanese sour men that were absolutely zonked out of their mind. Best tip of all tips. Learn this phrase. Dekai oppai ga daisuki. This means I love huge breasts. Now you might be thinking, why the fuck would I want to know this phrase? You go up to Japanese guys who speaks no English and you say this phrase, boom, instant friends. I did this so many times. It's just such a like universal thing. It's like, wow, we look different. We think different, but me and you are same. next morning, I woke up early on Saturday and got ready to go to the racecourse flea market. So this is like an actual flea market. So I was kind of excited to go to this one because I felt a little bit more authentic. So this place is a little bit out of the way, Tokyo-wise. You do have to take a monorail to get there, but it had like some of the best train views I think I've ever seen in my life. And as I get off the station, I hear two guys in English talking about how to say the word child, which is bambino. And I, jokingly, because I speak Italian, I go, pure dire ragazzi. This is where I met Enrique and this Italian guy whose name I actually forgot, but he's from Bergamo. I actually got his number, but I kind of feel rude asking him his name. So we're going to call him, as the Southern Italians do, Fratima. So Fratima was this Italian guy living in Japan, and Enrique was a Brazilian guy living in Japan. And what a coincidence, just like me at the time, they sold used cars. They were also older, again in the 30s. I don't know what it's me. I don't know why I keep getting all these unks I keep meeting, but they're super cool. There's going to be quite a few people, but there is a ton of vendors selling vintage clothes, vintage memorabilia, vintage gaming stuff, like cameras. I wouldn't say necessarily skip the vintage stores, but if you only want to go one time, go to this place. It was super, super worth it. The word about this place definitely got out. It was like 60% locals, 40% tourists. About 5 minutes in, I went to this vintage guy's booth. 5 years ago in 2020, I went to Value Village and I saw these Timberland cargo pants that were size 38 waist. And I wanted them, and for the longest time I've been trying to find them, and I couldn't find these exact same pants. I just couldn't, or they were like extremely expensive on Grailed. But, ta-da! Yeah, these are super sick. They like the bottoms unzip. They got this like cool little back hit, little front hit even with the shorts on, like, and like that perfect bagginess. I've been rocking these a lot actually. They're really, really nice. Do bring cash here. They almost only take cash, which is how the most of Japan is. Bring cash for everything. I also really wanted to get a watch. I ended up finding a Seiko watch. I paid 4,500 yen for it, thinking I just needed a new battery. Then I ended up running into the guys again. So, we talked a little bit, told them about my trip, and I told them I'm going to the Imperial Palace. And I really want to go to the Imperial Palace since it was my last day in Tokyo. And every time you go on the map, on Google Maps, like the first thing you see is the Imperial Palace. I'm like, oh, let me go, it looks sick. And he's like, oh, I know a really good food spot near there. And bro was not lying. He took me to this ramen place. Bomb. Absolute gas. It was like 1,000 yen. It was so good. It was like amazing. So I said my goodbyes and walked to the Imperial Palace. The area of the actual palace is huge, so I'm trying to find an entrance. And on Google Maps it said open at 4:30, so it's like 4:10 p.m. at this point. I see a large group of elderly Japanese people, and I assume, oh, that must be the entrance. Since the palace opened in 15 minutes, like they're all lining up to go inside, right? So as I approach this group, I realized they're all holding like anti-nuclear protest signs. And only then did I realize that they were protesting when I got really close. Because of course in Japanese fashion, it was the most quiet and polite protest I've ever seen. As I was walking towards the group, like trying to walk around them, a police officer stops me and they ask me something in Japanese. I respond, Imperial Palace? He goes, okay. He waves me in, and then the funniest shit ever happens. He starts yelling random shit in Japanese. And this guy, like he's Moses, parts this wave of elderly people into a perfect path. Anyways, I finally get to the palace, and despite what Google Maps said, the palace was closed because this was during a holiday during Golden Week. The only thing open was the Imperial Gardens, which were free, and it was alright. It was really cool to see these old style buildings with the skyscrapers in the background. It's a really cool juxtaposition. The right word? I don't know. The contrast was really cool. This was about 20,000 steps deep on this day, but after the palace, my feet were killing me. The big main things I really wanted to do, I got done. But I mean, it's the last day, and I go on Google Maps, seeing what's in the walking distance, found Sensoji Temple. This is a really popular place. I don't know how I missed it when I was making my itinerary. This place was packed, like just full of people, especially Chinese girls wearing kimonos, taking pictures for their red note. Now, I went during Golden Week. Golden Week was actually not that packed because a lot of tourists think it's gonna be packed. It's like some ancient mind control Jedi shit. So most places I went to weren't that packed, but this place was packed. You could barely walk. The temple was absolutely gorgeous. So I took some pictures and videos, but I noticed everyone there was just like on their phone, just like sucked in there. And going somewhere, not to enjoy the place, but for 170 likes on IG, like you're not there to enjoy the moment. So I remember I spent 3 minutes, like very consciously, just staring at the temple, each building in there, and taking the beauty. Like I just felt so like aura. I felt like I was really farming aura. So, when you go travel anywhere, just make sure to take in the moment, take in where you are, take in what this place really is. It's not just a place to take a picture to impress that one girl on Instagram. A 3-minute walk from Sensoji Temple is Sumida Park. It has this great view of the Tokyo Skytree. And if you're on the spectrum like I probably am, you get this great view for train watching. Since it was Saturday night, I wanted to pull a famous missing the last train in Tokyo night. Basically, what a lot of people do is stay out all night in Shinjuku or Shibuya partying until 5 a.m. when the trains run again. I don't really like clubbing in Toronto, but I thought if I'm in Tokyo, in the party capital of the world, and I'm 21, I might as well try, right? Tomorrow morning, we're gonna take the Shinkansen. I'm gonna drop off my luggage at the locker inside the station, so that way, if I get all fucked up tonight, I don't have to worry about it. So I was debating going to Shibuya or Shinjuku. Since I already been to Shibuya, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go to Shinjuku. First thing I noticed that the cleanliness of Japan did not apply here. It wasn't like filthy, but there was definitely some like trash about. So I was bar hopping in Shinjuku. I've never like gone out clubbing or like going to bars on my own, but like every bar I went to sucked ass. Like the instant I went in there, I'm like, the vibe is just not it. There's also something else I need to tell you and warn you about in Shinjuku. There is, no joke, like 100 Nigerian guys trying to scam you every 5 seconds. Literally on every fucking corner, there's like fucking 8 Nigerians. Brother, do you want to go to Titi Bar? No. Now, another thing I really wanted to see was this place called Golden Guy. I saw a bunch of videos about this and it like looked super cool. And it was like a collection of a bunch of hole-in-the-wall bars around like these 6 tight small alleyways. It looks so cool in YouTube videos. And listen, I've been to 5 different solo trips at this point. And this was, out of everything I've ever done, the most disappointing. First of all, every single person in there was a foreigner. There is also like multiple tour groups of like trying to get you to go to these like cool hidden spot. And I think online I'd been sold the idea this is like a cool hidden spot. And maybe this place was this cool and low-key spot 7-8 years ago. But when I went, it felt like a fucking amusement park. And it's something I don't like. I don't like amusement parks. I don't like being, not for the sake of a good time, but to make money. It's very superficial and you can kind of feel that. I went into like, again, like 5 or 6 of these bars. First of all, they were charging like absorbent prices. And I understand more popular areas will charge you bigger prices. And I didn't even like get a single drink in there. They were just all so bad. I just like did not like it. Let's try Shibuya. So I get on the metro, get off at Shibuya and hit the Lawson's for strong zero and onigiri. But I'm gonna keep it a buck. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like drinking alone kind of sucks ass. I kind of wish like was filming more of it. I think when you film stuff, people are a lot more warm to you and like they do approach you and stuff. I didn't really do that because I didn't want to be the asshole with the fucking camera. Like clubbing and bar hopping, to me at least, it's only fun when you're with your friends and you guys are all enjoying it. Maybe with the right group of people, but yeah, so I had a whole night ready. No, I don't know, man. I don't think I can go to a bar and club by myself. I don't got it in me, man. I don't know what it is. But it's just not for me, you know? I need to go with someone else. By myself, I feel like a fucking weirdo. It just don't feel right. But I will say, like, this place was fucking wild. Like, if you do want to party somewhere, this is the place to be. So it's creeping closer to midnight. And I was looking around and I was like, I don't think I want to stay here the whole night. And I get to the station and I'm like walking super slow and I'm like, wow, there's no one in the station. The Japanese guy who works on the train platform is like yelling at me. He's like, come, go, we wait for you. So I start fucking dashing up the stairs and I get on the last train. Other than the ramen I had earlier, I hadn't really eaten like a proper meal. So I get to this ramen place. I was so hungry and I was so drunk. So I ordered like, the ramen was 1,000 yen, but I ordered like another 1,000 yen worth of extras, like just extra meat and eggs and everything. I was cold and I was hungry and I was drunk and I was on my last fiber of energy because I'd walked so many steps this day. And bro, I started like dead ass tearing up and crying because the ramen was so good. Quality wise, taste wise, maybe to a sober person, it would have been like an 8 out of 10. I was at this mental point of being at like the beaches of Normandy. And this thing just brought me back to life. I left that ramen shop a different man. What is a Buddhist temple? Can I enter at this hour? Oh my God. I just found this random temple. This is so beautiful. This is crazy. It's just, I mean, it's amazing, you know? It's so quiet, it's so peaceful. No, Tokyo is like the busiest thing in the world, yet it's so calm. Ueno is definitely a chiller place. I think if you go to these like big neighborhoods but aren't like Shibuya or Shinjuku, it's a bit more chill. Maybe it's a bit more my vibe. There's still people out partying, drinking, whatever. But it was a lot more like chilled out and relaxed. So I get to my hostel bed and I crash. So I actually woke up too early. I couldn't go back to sleep. My train was at noon. I had to get my Shinkansen from Tokyo to Kyoto. And since all my stuff was at the train station, because I expected to be blasted when I got back there, I didn't really have anything to do. I had 4 hours to kill in Tokyo. So I got some breakfast. I walked around like the little neighborhoods. It's hard to say goodbye to a city when you've had such a great time there. I don't think there's a single city in the world that's like Tokyo. I think you could spend a month there and probably still not see everything. A little bit sad leaving, honestly, but you know, it's not a goodbye, it's a see you later. Even though I booked my Shinkansen tickets weeks ahead, all the Mount Fuji side tickets were sold out. I could have probably got up, take a picture, but there was this old Japanese man sleeping beside me, and I didn't want to be the asshole tourist that wakes him up to take a stupid picture. After going 400 kilometers an hour, a couple hours later, we're in Kyoto. Now, I've never in my life seen this before, but in Kyoto, you get on at the back of the bus, not the front. You can't get on the front. You get off at the front, and you pay while you're leaving on the front. This is fucking news to me. I've never seen a bus like this in my life. So I get on at the back, trying to figure out how to pay. Then I realize I'm going the wrong way. So as I'm getting off the back of the bus without paying, a bunch of Japanese people are very rightfully so screaming at me. I then get off and walk like 30 minutes in the blistering heat carrying all my luggage. So I leave my hostel and get to this izakaya, had some bomb sashimi, and I met this very happy and very drunk old Japanese man who was nice enough to buy me a beer after a very broken English conversation. Nearby was the Kamo River and the Yasaka Shrine, both absolutely gorgeous, must see if you're in Kyoto. And by this time it's like 5:30. Everything you want to see in Kyoto is like temples and structures, and almost all of it closes around like 5-6 p.m. There's not much to do in the nighttime in Kyoto. The last 4 days in Tokyo, my average steps was like 20K. At this point, I was super beat. So I'm gonna go to sleep real early and grind out all of Kyoto in one day. Next morning, I wake up bright and early and go straight to the Tori gates. I went at like 8 a.m. and it was full of people. So the whole wake up and skip the crowds won't really work here unless you come in like the ass crack of dawn. I bought a really fat convenient breakfast this morning, which you'll definitely need. The Tori gates is this world famous hiking path, I guess, that goes up this mountain. And even me, who's obviously super jacked and handsome and in great shape, I was huffing and puffing while I was going up this mountain. So definitely get a good meal in you before you go. Being like 30 minutes into the walk, 95% people are gone, and it gets pretty peaceful. I'm sure you've seen this place online before. It's absolutely gorgeous. You just have to go see it. Do bring some coins here if they have some Buddhist shrines here, and to be respectful, you should, give some money to it. This place is like a lot more rugged than you would expect for how popular it is. There's also like wild monkeys and boars and stuff you gotta be careful of when you're going there. Right beside the Tori gates is Kiyozumi Temple. Now on the way there, there's this little path that I found that has this really nice view of a cemetery. I know it's kind of odd to like go sightseeing at a cemetery, and obviously be respectful if you're gonna go to one. But a cemetery is meant to honor the dead, to continue their legacy. And I think when you go there and you appreciate that area, I think you're keeping their spirits alive, which is a pretty beautiful thing, Kiyozumi Temple is, I don't even know if I gotta say it, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. Another must visit in Kyoto, especially since it's so close to the Tori gates. I would say spend a good like 20-30 minutes just walking around and checking out these like little side paths too. They're all really, really nice. Now in this area is also where that really crowded street you've probably seen online is. And what a surprise, it was packed full of people. Every single shop here was either a very overpriced restaurant or some form of matcha seller. Whether it's matcha ice cream or like matcha high-end desserts. Obviously everything here is like twice as expensive as it should be because it's a tourist area, but the marketing did get to me. So I did buy a matcha drink, but not for 900 yen. I went to a vending machine and spent 200 yen on one, so fuck you cafes. Boom! By this point it was like noon and I had more than enough time to go to Arishiyama. Arishiyama, I don't know how to say it. The bamboo forest. But if you go to kodai-ji Temple, which is beside the Tori gates, and Kiyozumi Temple, they have another bamboo forest. On the way through this busy street and into kodai-ji Temple, there's this view I saw of Kyoto that was just breathtaking. It was just so gorgeous. I think it's important to disconnect yourself from the big sights and just from being there and getting your pictures there. And like, I know I keep yapping about this, but just be in the moment, be present. Whenever I go somewhere that was, it's an old or ancient site, I always think to myself, I'll never meet the people that built these houses, people that built these structures, people that built these temples. I'll never get to meet them and know the hardships they went through to build this temple. And maybe I'll never even quite fully understand what these structures mean to them. But I can see and appreciate their art. I'm there enjoying it. I came across the world to see these things. And I think in some way it's how you stop people from ever dying, because they say we have two deaths in life. The first is when we die, and the second is when we're forgotten. And I think if you dedicate your life to building good things and things that last a long time and that future generations will look up to, you never truly do die, do you? On the way to kodai-ji, there's this huge Buddha statue. You can see it like really up close for 300 yen, but you can also see it perfectly fine from outside. So boom, if you want to save 300 yen, there you go. Then to go inside a kodai-ji temple, it costs 500 yen. And basically the lore of this place is that it belonged to some famous samurai and he was like very endeared and loved by his wife, I'm pretty sure. Basically, he was goated. The place is really nice. You can go inside of the samurai's house, which is really cool. You get to see how they lived back in the day. But the big appeal of this place is the hidden bamboo forest that none of the tourists know about. So how is it?
I mean, it's alright.
I mean, like, it was definitely a lot less crowded than other places in Kyoto, but there was still some people there. Overall, I would say, like, if you have extra time in Kyoto, since you're gonna be probably in this area where the torii gates are and the other temples are, like, go visit this place. But as you'll see, like, I ended up going to the actual bamboo forest, and it's not the same experience. So my eyes are set on the next temple, Kinkaku-ji, the Golden Temple. But it's like everything else in the city, absolutely gorgeous. It wasn't too packed, but there was a lot of tour groups. You couldn't actually like go inside the temple. The temple's like a little island almost, and you walk around it. But I mean, it's made of gold. It's fucking sick. I really want to see this place because I remember like in Pokemon, there's that huge golden building where Ho-Ho comes out of. I'm pretty sure this is based off of that. Not the Pokemon is based off of the real life one, not the other way around. The whole tour of the temple took about 15 minutes. The temple itself was cool, definitely a cool thing to see. But it was right here where the beginning of the best night of my life happened. So, if you don't know what this t-shirt is, this is a 1992 Nirvana single stitch silver t-shirt. If you're not into vintage, it might surprise you to know that some old t-shirts are worth a crap load of money. This is one of them. But while I'm walking through the temple wearing this, you know, sick ass Nirvana t-shirt, I see the 3 best dressed Japanese guys on planet Earth. Like just dripped out head to toe, just so well dressed. So they're talking in Japanese, but I overhear them say, "Oh, Nirvana single stitch." And I'm like, oh shit, you know, they know what's up. They know Wagwan. I start doing this when I'm like scratching my t-shirt to show like that it's a vintage tag. So then they laugh. You know, I'm like, I appreciate you like my shirt, but you guys got way better drip than me. So this is where I met Shoma, Iyatowa, and Haruki. Now only Iyatowa spoke English, and honestly, like his English was pretty decent. Now he had only learned through YouTube videos. So like his English was kind of broken, and the only way I was talking to these guys were through Google Translate. But shout out Google Translate, because you know, we're talking about vintage clothes. I'm showing them all my other cool vintage clothes they have. They're showing me all their cool vintage clothes. And what I like the most about them is that each one of them, they had that shit on, but they had it on in a different way. And like, I know I've been yapping about vintage this whole video, but I have things you're really passionate about because those passions can transcend languages, they transcend culture. So I talk to them, I take some pictures with them, and then I give them my Instagram. I'm like, oh, if you guys are going out tonight or doing something tonight, let me know. I honestly thought I'd never see them again, but that story doesn't end there. So at this point, it's like 3 p.m. I debated not even going to the bamboo forest at all since I already saw the other bamboo forest. But I'm like, well, when in Rome. So I get off at the subway stop that's near the bamboo forest. And in order to get to the bamboo forest, you have to like walk down this side street. It doesn't really look like the way you'd think you'd go to get there. So I end up making a wrong turn and I walk like 30 minutes towards beautiful, beautiful bridges. I'm gonna show it where it is on Google Maps. You should go there. It is such a nice walk. Like, it was so beautiful. There's this huge river. I walked through this bridge. There's like this quaint little neighborhood there too that's absolutely gorgeous. I check my Google Maps. I'm like, wait, I'm going the complete wrong way. Make a U-turn, walk back. And who do I see at the entrance of the bamboo forest? The boys! This had to be pure fate. Like, if I didn't get lost trying to get to the bamboo forest, I wouldn't have caught them at the entrance. So I see them again and then they're asking me like, oh, why aren't you wearing a kimono like all the other tourists? And I said, oh, I'm not wearing a single stitch kimono. I translated the joke on Google Translate and they made them laugh really, really hard. And I think after that, they warmed up to me a little bit. It shows that comedy just has no language barriers. The forest, as you probably know if you're watching this video, it's very well known and it's a must-see, not only if you're in Kyoto, just if you're going to Japan in general. I mean, that other small hidden forest, it's cute, but it doesn't do this one justice. So I'm walking these 3 guys who I've known for maybe about 15 minutes at this point. And as we're walking through the forest, you know, I'm still talking to these guys. We're telling them about their life, telling me like, you know, what they're up to. They're my age. And Google Translate's got to be top 5 inventions of all time. These guys were so down to earth. They were so genuine. They were so nice. You know, I've known them for like 15 minutes and I feel like they're friends that I've known for my whole life. They're actually just in Kyoto for a day trip, which makes the possibility of us encountering even crazier. They're from Shizuoka. I'm definitely saying that wrong. We get out of the forest and they're like, oh, are you hungry? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, you ever had saba? And I was like, nah. So we go on our way there. Now, they of course stop for a quick smoke break because they're Japanese. Cigarettes are kind of becoming cool again with like Western Gen Z, and you know, it makes them look tough and like different and like, you know, grungier. You know, it gives them a hobby. But these guys weren't doing it for show. They weren't doing it for Instagram pictures. They were doing it for the love of the game. Look how sick they look smoking darts. We hop in the right-hand drive Prius. Japan. We get to the Saba restaurant, we park up. The fucking garages in Japan are insane, bro. Look at the parking garage. Whoa. pachinko machine. They take me to some hole-in-the-wall restaurant. They were shocked that I could use chopsticks. Which, if you ever meet an Asian person who hasn't lived in the West, that's like the first thing they always do. They get so shocked that like white people can use chopsticks. I try to eat the saba like the way Italian people eat spaghetti. The genes are too strong. The saba was to die for. It was so good. They got me some tempura too. This was top 3 meals of my life. It was so good. And it was a place that I would never, ever have discovered had it not been for these 3 legends. And when the meal is over, they don't let me pay. And I don't mean they like offer to pay, but kind of like, oh, we're just offering to be nice. No. They sneaked around me to get to the front counter to pay without me noticing. I tried to pay for the whole meal because I'm like, well, you guys brought me here. You drove me here. You guys are being so nice to me. They're like, no, they refused. I was trying to pay them. They're like, no, you're a guest here. Like, this is the least we can do for you. They were so nice. They refused. And the whole time they were like this. They were just such nice, genuine people.
Konnichiwa.
So have you ever been with Canadian girl?
Oh no, please teach me.
Okay, I got you. If you come to Toronto, I get you.
Okay.
You come, they hear your accent. Oh my god, you're so cute.
Really?
Do you know Japanese? In Canada, sometimes I use Italian accent. I go, I'm Italian, I talk like this, I want to fuck you, you know?
Oh.
And then all they tell me is, we know a spot. Whenever someone says that, they're either gonna give you the best or worst experience of your life. Now at this point, I just met these guys. They're paying for my meal and they're driving me to some undisclosed location. Like if I told you this out of context, you might think, yeah, you're about to get kidnapped. I went with my gut and I'm like, this is gonna be a fun time. Oh, you know that song?
Canada Highway. Speed
100 kilometers, 120 kilometers. 100?
100
kilometers. Yeah. So we get in the car, we're driving for like 20 minutes. We of course stop for a smoke break at the conveni. They're showing me Japanese music. There's some Japanese bangers they put me on. I'm showing them like Toronto hood music. So I'm telling them what I know about Japanese culture, and we're making jokes about Dragon Ball and Japanese girls, both of which I got some experience with. And then we're going up a mountain. Now we get stuck in some traffic at this mountain. It was a very, very small, skinny road, as all the roads are in Japan. And in front of us is this guy on a motorcycle with a girl who I'm guessing he's trying to impress. He doesn't know how to drive a manual motorcycle up this mountain. So he gets stuck and he's like trying to turn the bike around and he's clearly struggling. So I'm like, oh, why don't we get out and help him? So here I am in Japan on a mountain that I have no clue where I am with these 3 Japanese guys helping a Japanese motorcyclist pushing his motorcycle down the mountain. 4 hours before this, I never would have imagined I would have been there. So after being stuck in this truck for like an hour, we get to the top of this mountain and man. Holy shit. Yo, this is crazy. Oh my god. Fuck. The view of Osaka from the top of this mountain was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. There was something so symbolic about being at that place to me. You know, it's only out of pure luck that I'm here. I'm at this mountaintop with these 3 guys. Had I chosen to go to Japan another year, had it been a little warmer that day, I would have worn a white t-shirt instead of a black one. Had I not gotten lost in the way to the forest, I wouldn't be here. I don't think in any way in my life I ever would have gone to that mountain. Yet here I am in a new country with new friends, seeing new views. And this is the beauty of traveling. There's some yearning in the human soul for adventure, to seek more, to climb mountains and go through valleys. Every dollar I had to work hard for to pay for this trip, it was all worth it to be here, to be at this point. We're there for a good hour. Now I live in Canada, so as you can tell, I live in an igloo. So I'm used to the cold. They were all freezing up in this mountain. I'm like in a teacher hot. They literally offered me the jackets off their back. We didn't talk that much on top of this mountain because I think the view itself held all the words that we could think of. And this view, you couldn't reserve it a month in advance. There's no tour groups to get up here. I looked at this mountain as a moment of reflection. A moment to slow down and appreciate life and all its absurdities and chaos. That chaos and absurdity brought me here. They of course take another smoke break, Japan. On the way down from the mountain, we got stuck in traffic. And of course, as Asians do, we start singing karaoke. I'm definitely not Whitney Houston, but I tried.
Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
C'è ancora nascosto il segreto più bello che hai.
Yeah! Nice! そんなものあるだろうか飛ばしる熱いバックスで思い出を裏切るなら飛び立つ駆け出したら手にできる言って
They then very nicely drove me back to my hostel. On the hour ride back, we chatted shit. We of course stopped by a Family Mart Konbini, where I had to bless the boys with Family Mart chicken, or as locals say, Famichiki. They even bought me a bunch of snacks, no matter how much I refused. The car ride back had an air of sadness to it. Good things don't last forever. In one night, I feel like I met some lifelong friends of mine. And I know this is gonna sound corny, but we started playing When I See You Again. And like, bro, I started tearing up, man. It was hitting me. This night was the best night of my life. The chaos, the craziness of it. The beautiful sights, the beautiful friends I made. That's not something that can just be redone. And I might live my whole life never having a night as great as that night. That's what you live for in life. For the good times. The times like these. Alright, brother. Thank you so much for driving me. Thank you so much.
Thank you!
Enjoy Japan.
I will.
Have a nice day.
Yes.
Have a nice day.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Good night!
The more I walked through Kyoto, the more gorgeous it got. It was so gorgeous. It was so beautiful. It was every corner you turn was the most gorgeous street you've ever seen. And recently I've had this sense of apathy when it comes to popular things. Like, oh, if it's popular, it must be overrated. It must suck. It must be for low IQ plebeians, unlike the likes of me. But it's a lot like Rome. Yeah, it's full of lines and tourist traps, but they're there for a good reason. I basically had one day in Kyoto. I saw the bamboo forests, the torii gates, like 5 different temples. People say you need to stay in Kyoto for a couple of days. I disagree. Up the next morning on a cloudy, rainy day and got to Osaka. I spent a good amount of time planning my Tokyo and planning Kyoto. When you look up things to do in Osaka, the list is pretty short. Like, everything is just like, okay, go to Dotonobori and go to Osaka Castle. So boom, that's what I did on my first day. Now my hostel was the Grand Hostel Osaka. This is probably the nicest hostel I've been at. It was like 30 bucks a night. It was really, really nice. Definitely recommend staying at this place. The location was really good, being in downtown Osaka. So I go out in the rain. I see the Running Man, and no, I did not take some stupid picture holding my hands up in the air. Osaka is famous for its food. It's the food capital of Japan, with street food vendors and tons of famous restaurants. With any tourist food spot, you gotta have a good sense of what's a good food spot and what's just a tourist trap. And there's one really good way to find this out. Follow Chinese people. This applies anywhere in the world you go. Chinese people know the good spots, they know the good restaurants, and they know the places with good prices. Shout out Chinese people, shit. I found this place with fried squid ball that was, of course, delicious. I walked to Dotonobori for a bit. It's very nice, it's a very cool spot to be, but it was pouring rain, so I then go on the next spot in my very extensive itinerary, and that's Osaka Castle. It's a pretty cool place. The ticket was, I think, like 1,200 yen. I don't know, I was there for like 20 minutes. Cool pit stop if you're in Osaka. At the top of it is also a view of Osaka, and it was nice, but it was not as nice as the mountain that I saw the last night. There's also a guy outside in a Goku costume doing like cool gymnastics. Now I am one of those guys who does remote work from his MacBook in the hostels, and I had to catch up on some work, so I called it an early night. Next morning, up and early, I go to Nara. It's about a 40-minute train ride away. As soon as you get off at the train station, there is deer everywhere. And they're not like confined to a little space. They're just like roaming the streets. They're just huge parks full of wild deer. It's crazy. They're pretty friendly. You can like pet them. You can also buy crackers to feed them. I would not recommend doing this, as if you have food, they will bite you and headbutt you and you'll get pretty aggressive for it. In Japanese fashion, the deer also bow to you, which is pretty cray-cray. Yeah, don't miss out on Nara. Do not miss out on Nara. I was there for like 3-4 hours. There's a couple of like temples and stuff you can see there, as well as the deer. If you're in Osaka or in Kyoto and you need something to do for a morning or afternoon, go to this place. It was super worth it. Now, when I first got to Osaka, I was kind of disappointed. It didn't feel as cool and lively and chaotic as Tokyo did, but it wasn't the cool traditional place that Kyoto was. As I got back to Osaka, the weather finally being nice, I kind of softened up to it a little bit. Osaka's the second biggest city in Japan. It's really big cities tend to have this superficialness to it. And I found Osaka wasn't like that. While it's not as chaotic and big as Tokyo, the people are a lot more friendlier. They're a little bit more down to earth. I realized it's my last day in Japan and I haven't gone to a sushi restaurant yet. So boom, I get to this conveyor belt sushi place and oh my God, it slapped. It was so good. I devoured 12 plates of sushi and they even had like Wagyu and other stuff. It was 6,600 yen, worth every goddamn penny. Oh my God, so good. So I had to catch a really early flight to South Korea the next day, so I couldn't stay out too late. Ended up meeting this huge group of guys that were all from Toronto too. And I know I told you guys I only had 2 places planned in Osaka. That was a lie. There's one more place, one more holy site that I made this whole pilgrimage to Japan for. The Drunken Clam Family Guy Bar in Osaka. The neighborhood it's in is like the red light district full of love hotels and prostitutes. But when I saw that Drunken Clam sign, I felt like Moses seeing the burning bush. When I was walking up the stairs to get to the Drunken Clam, I had the same feeling I had when I went to the Vatican. This indescribable feeling of being in a place that had so much aura. I walk in and it's just me and these 2 girls. Now this place is a karaoke bar. If you've never been to a karaoke bar in Japan, go to them. They are so fun. Family Guy Bar. I got my first real 6-string. Of course, my drink of choice was the giggity. And look, nobody cares how bad you are singing karaoke. Just pick a song that everyone knows and sing your heart out. Now, as the night went on in the Family Guy Bar, more and more characters joined. People from Kitchener, Australia. This drunk gay French guy that was so happy that I was singing Shaka Khan. I think I've been to like 20, 30 bars in my life. And I never quite enjoyed it, but this one was different. I was smiling ear to ear while I was here. It was so beautiful. It was such a core memory of mine. I had a couple more giggities, got absolutely hammered, and called it a night. A beautiful send-off to the most beautiful country I've ever been to. I know Japan is kind of like this idealized, romanticized place, and there's a million videos telling you all the dark sides of Japan. I'm gonna tell you something as someone who's traveled a lot. You can watch a million YouTube videos on experiences, a million YouTube videos on places to go. They will never, ever compare to actually going there. Online, people won't shut up about going to Japan, but for good reason. I mean, there really isn't any other country in the world like it. Every time I take a subway in Toronto, I miss how clean the subways are in Tokyo. Every time I get on the escalator and some idiot is standing in the middle blocking the path, I miss how much everyone followed the rules in Japan. It's a different culture, it's a different place. There's nothing in the world like Japan, and there's nothing quite like experiencing it. So go out there, go travel, go see the world. Especially now with how weak the Japanese yen is, it's so cheap to go there. I spent less money on this trip to Japan than I spent in Argentina. Japan is so safe, so clean, and so much fun. There's nothing in the world that even compares to it. So thank you so much for watching, and sayonara.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, if you made it to the end of this video, I got another tip for you guys that someone told me. If you're a foreigner and you want to get Japanese girls, go to the British style pubs. Every girl that goes there is a gaijin hunter, okay? You didn't hear it from me, bye.